going on, everybody? It is your boy Crypt. Welcome back to another video. Today's video, I am going to be ranking Eminem's albums, and I can't believe I haven't done this already. I thought I did this back in January when he released Music to be Murdered By, but apparently I'm dumb and did not do this, and I'm stupid. I know people asked me to do it back then, and I don't know why I didn't, but here we are in October, and I'm finally getting around to it. I'm sorry. And before I get into the video, if you are an independent artist on YouTube that needs help with your YouTube or anything like that, stay till the end of the video. I got some cool stuff for you. But now it's controversial opinion time. Now, obviously, I'm going to be ranking this on personal preference of Eminem songs and the albums, where I was at in my life when I heard the albums, what kind of impact they had on me as a musician myself. So it's all very, very personal and biased. But if you guys want to rank the albums yourself, please feel free to comment those down below. I'll be very interested to see what you guys do and how much you just shit all over my life. So up first, we have Relapse, and I know a lot of people don't particularly like this. What was this, 2009, I believe? To me, this is right around the time period Eminem was trying to transform to the modern sound. This was his first album back in like 5 years, I think, 5 or 6 years. And so obviously the culture changed, the music changed, the scene changed. But he had songs on this that had that more commercial vibe that I honestly don't like at all, but I know a lot of people really fuck with him. Specifically with the song We Made You. Do you guys remember that music video where he was like playing Tony Romo and like Jessica Simpson was huge? And I remember coming home from school and it seems like that music video was played every single day for the longest time. But then you have songs like Crack a Bottle, which is like the huge mainstream song that came out of this album, which is for me an okay song, but I really don't like that style of Eminem that much. But he does have a couple songs on here that are like some of my favorites. He's got Bagpipes from Baghdad where he's just completely shitting all over Mariah Carey. Then he's got a song on there called Underground, which has a really, really dope fucking beat, and like his rhyme schemes on that were really nice, and I don't understand how it was never bigger than what it was, and a lot of you might not even know what the song is. So for me, Relapse is one of my least favorite Eminem albums. Now keep in mind when I rank these are Eminem standards in my brain. So if I give an Eminem album a D, that does not mean it is like a D overall. That means it's a D comparable to other Eminem albums. And so for me, Relapse is hovering between a C and a D because, like I said, there's only 2 or 3 songs on there that I'll find myself going back listening to. The rest of them, it's just like, you know, they're good songs, but they're just not for me. So I'm going to be nice and put it at a C album. Okay, up next, we got Marshall Mathers LP 2, and I remember this album very specifically. I was a freshman in college, and I got an early link, completely illegally, to this song. I didn't go out looking for it. Somebody just sent it to me, and I just happened to click on it and listen to the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. And I remember like not liking it at all, which is very typical of me. I do this a lot with a lot of my favorite artists and myself. Like the first time I listen to a song or an album, I'm always overly critical and just refuse to listen to the album like a fan. And so I remember not liking this album when it first came out, but over the years, I found myself always going back to a lot of the songs on this and listening to it with no problem and actually enjoying some of this. Obviously, Rap God is on this album, and it was the biggest song on the album and just set the whole world into a frenzy, got the entire fast rap craze kind of rejuvenated. But again, there were some more of those really commercial sounding songs on here that have the female hooks and like the really catchy hooks that I'm just not a fan of. Like you had Monster with Rihanna, which is actually probably the biggest song on the album, not Rap God. I don't know, they're both really big. You'd have to look at the YouTube views. But it had like that classic Rihanna hook, and like I like the song, don't get me wrong, but it's not something that I listen to anymore. But he has the song Survival, Wicked Ways, those hooks that are very, very commercial. But he does have a really dope song on here that I've always liked from the jump called Brainless. I thought it was a really cool concept of a song, and the hook that he does himself, I actually enjoy. The beat's dope on it. Everything was really cool about this song. But I remember the album being promoted with the song Berserk, and he came out looking just like Slim Shady. He had the white t-shirt, he had his hair blonde again, so it's like, holy shit, he might be going back to this type of rap that I learned to love from Eminem. But Berserk didn't do that. Like, I don't understand why he came out looking like that to that specific song. I mean, with that song, he went way back, like before Slim Shady. He went back to like the 80s Beastie Boys sound. But in hindsight, like I said, I find myself listening to this album more than I did Relapse, so I'm gonna put it right there in the middle. Up next, this is Marshall Mathers LP, and I'm gonna tell you guys right now, this is my favorite Eminem album of all time by far. There are so many classics on this that a lot of people don't even realize. There's Stan, The Way I Am, Kill You, The Real Slim Shady, but then there's also moments on the album where he's just like having fun and goofing off and still being the Eminem that he wanted to be. He has a song on there, I think it's called Kids or The Kids, it's something like that, where he does this South Park impression, and it's a very goofy song, but I just, like, to me, it just shows, like, he still didn't give a fuck what he put on there, and he was just being himself. He's got a song on there called Drug Ballad, which is fucking awesome. Criminal, which is criminally underrated and one of the best Eminem songs to ever exist. It's just a really dope album, and it's one of those things where I can listen to it all the time. Okay, up next, Recovery, and this, I think, was commercially one of the most played Eminem albums I've ever heard in my entire life. You had Cinderella Man, Spacebound, No Love, Not Afraid, Love the Way You Lie, Won't Back Down. I mean, all of these songs are like commercially radio songs. It's something that like completely took me away from the reason that I loved Eminem. But it was also one of these things where the songs were so successful and played everywhere that it's impossible to not put it high in the rankings. Because I do like some of the songs. Cinderella Man is insane. Spacebound is one of the greatest Eminem songs ever. No Love with Lil Wayne, bro. No Love with Lil Wayne was fucking phenomenal. I mean, everybody talks about Not Afraid. I liked it a lot when it first happened, but then it was just overplayed and overplayed and overplayed, and now I can't stand it. I remember one of the biggest quarrels I had with this album was the way he sounded, like the mix. It sounded like there was two of him all the time in my headphones. It was just a really weird sound. So listenability wise, I don't listen to it that much, but it has that huge commercial sound to it, and therefore I'm gonna put it right there in the middle. Next we have Kamikaze, which for some reason I hold very near and dear to my heart, because I was falling into this rut with Eminem where I wasn't particularly liking his music anymore, and it was like very saddening. And then he just dropped this album out of nowhere, and it reminded me of way back in the day where he just kind of went off and did his thing. I sound like such an old head. But yeah, bro, Kamikaze, there's only like 2 or 3 songs on there that I'll skip when I listen to. The rest of them I really, really enjoy. And this is one of those things where he's like super, super punchline heavy, but he's also making songs that are appealing to my ear. And like I'll just be driving around and I'll be listening and I'll catch a punchline like 2 years later. I'm putting that one right there in the A tier. I mean, if you think about some of these songs, Fall, crazy song. The Ringer, absolutely insane song. I guess I just relate to it a lot because he's completely shitting all over the people that criticize him and hate him for these ridiculous reasons. And I empathize with that and I feel that because I do the same thing, which is probably why I really like the album. Up next, Infinite. And this one's hard to judge. I like the song Infinite from the album, but the rest of the stuff, it feels very, very like 1985 style. Very, you can hear the LL Cool J influence in Eminem right there. I think his rhyme schemes were there, but he just like wasn't Eminem yet. Like he wasn't in his delivery mode. He didn't really do that well. So it's obviously going to be my least favorite. I know it's technically a classic, but you know, be real with yourself. Up next, the Eminem Show. This is another one, bro, that was just like, this is Eminem in his height, and some of the greatest songs he ever made came off of this album. White America, Cleaning Out My Closet, Without Me. What else was on there? Sing for the Moment, I believe was on there. Superman was on there. Till I Collapse was on there. I forgot about that being on there. Oh man, this is up there. This is gotta be one of my favorites. Strictly because of some of the songs that just have an everlasting impression on my life. So yeah, it's right up there too. And it's weird because like I am not a political guy whatsoever, and I hate when people get political, but I can listen to White America over and over again. And it's weird because like Eminem and my political views, even though I'm not very political, are like almost polar opposites, but I can just listen to this song. Same thing with Mosh. Mosh didn't come until a couple years later on Encore, but it's one of those things where I can just listen to it and like I kind of forget that it's a political message, and I'm enveloped in the instrumentals and the way the song sounds. Next, we got Music to Be Murdered By, and again, this is one of those things when I heard it, I did not like it that much. But as time has gone by, there are some songs on there that I find myself listening to and not even realizing that I'm listening to them. Obviously, you got Godzilla. 100% grew on me so much throughout the year to the point where I fucking hate it now. I'm just playing. I just hate when people ask me to rap it because I have to do it all the time. Another song on there that I think is super underrated is Leaving Heaven, where he's talking about his dad, and the dirt digging up sample that's in there. It's just really nice, and it's like gut-wrenching, bro. This is one of those songs that not a lot of people make. And there's also songs like Darkness, which is another really heavy, deep song that not a lot of people make songs like that. Premonition reminds me very much of like the Eminem Show style of Eminem. It's all around a pretty solid album. It's like floating in between A and B for me. I like Kamikaze more than I like Music to Be Murdered By. Conceptually, I think Music to Be Murdered By is better than Kamikaze. Man, I don't really know. I wish there was like a B+ tier, because that's where I would put it. I mean, it's comparable to these right here. I'm gonna keep it right there at B. Okay, moving on into the last 3, we have Encore, and for me, this is like the most conflicting album for me because there's such a mixture between these really heartfelt songs and then these just ridiculous, crazy songs that have this commercial sound to them. So this has 2 of probably my top 10 Eminem songs to exist on this album, with Mockingbird and Like Toy Soldiers. But it also has 2 of my least favorite Eminem songs ever to exist, with Ass Like That and Just Lose It. So as you can see, that's why I'm super conflicted with this, because there's some really just crazy classic songs, and then there's songs like that, which some people really like. I know a lot of people loved Ass Like That. I didn't like it. But then there's also some of these underrated songs that I really fuck with. Mosh is on this album. I talked about that earlier. There's another song called Yellow Brick Road on here that is dope. So for me, Encore, I put that right there in the middle, just because there's songs I hate, there's songs I love, and then there's songs that I can definitely listen to over and over again. Now we're moving on into Revival, which is probably the most critically shit on album that Eminem has. Again, this is another one of those albums that came out, and I believe I just graduated college when it came out, or I was around my senior year. I remember where I was at when I listened to it. It was another one of those things where I got an early link, and I absolutely hated this album when I first heard it. Before anybody came with those public opinions that they hated it, I remember being like, what the fuck is this? On first listen, I remember hating every single song except for the last two, and I thought the last two were probably some of his greatest songs he ever wrote, which is Castle and A Rose, and it's like a connecting storyline between those two songs specifically. But the rest of the album, man, super political, and like I said earlier, I hate being political, and it's not that I hate Eminem political songs. I talked earlier, I like White America, I like Mosh. But this was just like, it seemed like every song there was digs and digs and digs, and it's just like, man, I don't like this. But there was also a ton of like the classic rock samples that just made it feel like, you know, I don't want to listen to this. I actually liked Walk on Water. I remember that now with Beyonce. I think a lot of people fucking hated that song. I didn't like the original Chloroseptic. I love the Chloroseptic remix with 2 Chainz, and I feel stupid like falling into the public thing where everybody hated this album. But I remember I did not like it on first listen before anybody could have this public influence on me, and there's not a lot of songs that I go back and listen to. Honestly, there's none that I have in my playlist that I go back and listen to, even though I really like Castle and A Rose. The association with the album, like, I don't have any of the songs. But the writing is there. Eminem still does this thing, so I'm gonna put it right here with Relapse. And then finally, we got Slim Shady LP. And obviously an all-time Eminem classic. This is the album that put him on the map and got Eminem a household name. Some really, really dope songs on here. My Name Is, which is like the song. I could still picture the music video. Guilty Conscience is insane. Brain Damage is really good. This is where Bad Meets Evil comes in. Role Model, again, probably one of the top 10 Eminem songs. 97, Bonnie and Clyde. There's some really, really dope songs on here. But he still has that really young Eminem voice to me. And for that reason, I'm putting it in the A tier. It's right. It's better than Kamikaze, but I don't think it's better than Marshall Mathers LP by a long shot. And I don't think it's probably comparable to the Eminem Show for me personally. But it's right there. It's between an A and an S for me. So there you have it. There you have it. It's like the tipsy bartender says. This is my tier list of Eminem albums. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know how comparable this is to yours. I think I've said that word a million fucking times this video. Yeah, shit on me in the comments. Thank you guys for watching this video. Like I said earlier, if you are an independent artist looking to help make a name for yourself on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere, click the link down low to Indie Amplify. There's so many cool and useful resources on there. You can find out how to get your beats mixed. You can find people to shoot your videos. You can find collaborations. You can find reactors to react to your music. It is a one-stop shop for all independent artists that is just crazy useful. So please go do that. There's also a YouTube channel down there where we are going to be uploading tips and tricks and all these useful informations over there as well. So please do that. But that's the end of the video, guys. I love you guys. And until next time, it has been your boy Crypt, and I'm signing out. Comment down below your album rankings. And be a simple kind of man, will be a son.